welcome to this week's REI weekly lesson, Real Estate Investing Weekly Lesson. That's what that stands for. And I am going to be talking about over-rehabbing houses and why you should never do that. It makes no financial sense. So if you get value from this video or this podcast, do me a favor, subscribe to my channel, like the video, and if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, share the show with someone else who you think would benefit from this. And it would really mean a lot to me. That's how we keep growing the show on a weekly basis. So a little background about me. If you've just tuned in for the first time, I've been doing this for pretty much a decade at this point. It's crazy how time flies. I've done well over 300 properties. I would probably say at this point, in between 330 to 350 properties, like closed and funded in 3 very hard markets: Seattle, New York, San Diego. And the point of this video and every other piece of media I put out is to share with you what works, what doesn't work, and give you real insight on this business. So over-rehabbing houses, right? This is a big mistake I see people make, and they just completely fuck their profits up. So that's basically self-explanatory. It's when you make a house nicer than it needs to be. So a lot of people watch these TV shows on, HGTV or whatever, A&E, and they think that they need to buy a house, rip it to the studs, and, make it look like it's new construction and sell it for way more money than what it's probably worth. And it's quite frankly a waste of time. So over-rehabbing is a great way to ruin your real estate investing career. So I'm going to tell you, how do you know when you should not over-rehab the house? So number one, anytime you have a lead that you're going to buy, right, you need to look at the condition of that property. And you need to take comparables of the current condition, right? So if you're buying a house, I'll give you a good example. If you go on the MLS in any market in America, most of the properties that sell, most of the inventory is properties that aren't rehab. They're like original, they're dated, they're 5 years old in terms of the rehab. They're 10 years old, they're grandma specials. That's the majority of the inventory. And then there's obviously a small portion of the inventory that's like complete shitholes, bank-owned properties, and there's a small portion of the inventory that's completely gutted ARV style houses. So most of the leads you're going to get are going to be like fitting in that 80% where like you could just literally put it back on the market, maybe put 10 grand into it and sell it for all the other comparable values, right? So let's say you get a lead and, it's in okay condition. It's not completely fallen over. Like, don't rehab it and make it an ARV house, right? Just say, okay, how much money do I need to spend in order to get it to be worth all these other comparables that are, a little outdated? And a lot of the times it's like, got to spend 15 grand. We got to do new floors, new paint, maybe some new light fixtures. And there we go. We can make some money and we don't have to get involved in the crazy construction business. So when you can look at deals from that angle, instead of saying like every house I have to gut, you're going to be able to literally buy a house as long as you get it at the right price. Now, this is the key. You got to get these things at a discount or else it doesn't make any sense. You could say, all right, like if this house is going to be worth 400 grand in its current condition or whatever, like with 15 grand worth of work, I can buy it for 280. I can put 10 grand and I'm in for 290. I can sell it for 400. Like obviously I'll make about 60 grand in net profit after all the expenses. This is a sweet deal. Like I'd rather do that than buy something, put in freaking 50 grand and then, sell it. It's like, then you're getting into rehabbing. Like it's a complete disaster. So try to take your properties and see what they would sell for as is, right? And then if you need to put a little bit of money into that house to get it to be worth the as is value based off the comps, you could do a lot more deals and you can recycle your money a lot faster because you're not stuck into these projects that take 6 months. So the only time you should really like gut a house is if the house is completely fucked up and the only way you can make it worth your time is if you fully remodel it. Like I'll give you an example. I bought a property like 2 weeks ago, complete shell, like ripped out to the bones. I have to rehab that house, right? Because that's the only option I have. There were no comparables that were the same condition that would have made any financial sense for me. But there's another house that we're selling in a couple of weeks, bought it in great condition, put like 5 grand into it, selling it for over 100 grand in profit. So you have to look at these deals and say, what's the least I can put in to make the most amount of money within the quickest amount of time? And a lot of the times you'll realize that it's not a full rehab. It's like floors go a long way in houses, new light fixtures, like maybe doing the handles on the cabinets if they're not completely fucked up, like deep clean, right? Power wash, getting the freaking leaves out of the gutters. These little things go such a long way when you're selling a property because like I said in the beginning of this video, most of the inventory that sells in America are properties that are originally outdated. Like just do an exercise, go on Zillow, look at our listings, and most of them are just in like reasonable condition. That's what buyers expect to buy most of the time. And if you're selling a house for ARV number, You got to go off those ARV comps, renovated houses that have sold. So that's how you avoid over rehabbing. Look at your comps, figure out what's the least amount you can do to get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. Because when you get stuck in these like 6-month rehabs, it totally blows your momentum up, because instead of going out and finding new deals, you're managing contractors and permits, and that's never fun, right? It's hard to scale that because there's a lot of things out of your control. So hopefully this was helpful. And if you're rehabbing, trust me, this is advice that comes from people with experience. Done a lot of these deals, so I know what works and what doesn't work. And I'm telling you right now, most of the deals you're doing full gut rehabs on, you can fucking clean them out, relist them, and make the same, if not more money in a way quicker timeline. That's going to help you grow your business and ultimately get richer. So hopefully you take this advice seriously and you implement it. And if you do, let me know. And I'd love to hear back from my listeners and followers. And if you got a house you want to wholesale me, I'd love to buy it. If it's in New York, Delaware, or Washington, we're always looking for more deals. So if you have something, if you want to wholesale it to me or wholesale it with me on a JV basis, send me an email, greg@velocityhousebuyers.com, or you can send me a DM on Instagram at grego_37. I'll see you on the next REI weekly lesson. Take care.